This is Mark Dell with Android Spin, and this review is for Flickitty by Randall Schlufer. Can you make Flick the Cat Employee of the Month by flicking him around the world to collect new hats? One thing's for sure about Flickitty, it's unique. Flickitty is a platformer in just about the broadest sense of the word. There are no on-screen controls, and you don't jump between platforms as much as get knocked through the sky. To move around the world, you touch down anywhere on the screen and drag to move Flick's head away from his body, and then release to send him flying in that direction. It's an odd mechanic for moving around, but it's one that you'll instantly learn and become comfortable with, and it's oddly one of the better touchscreen control methods that I've come across. You'll be using your power of kitty flicking to navigate around the 5 mazes and complete tasks involving finding, retrieving, or destroying items inside the world. There's no death in Flickitty, however there are hazards across the world that will burn you, freeze you, zap you, poison you, and more. These hazards penalise your score for the task at hand and can require you to collect an additional item to complete your goal. The idea of these tasks sounds fine, and they're often accompanied by some offbeat, witty written dialogue, but they quickly become tiresome, as if Flickitty was created as some kind of tech demo, and the world was quickly populated with small tasks to make use of it. There's no real story to progress through, no sharing of your scores and times for each level, just moving around simple maps finding items. Completing tasks earns you a new hat, which can affect Flick in some way. One appears to make him heavier, and one zooms out the world, making things easier to see. Although in the 20 plus hats available, I find it hard to tell if they were having an effect on the gameplay at all. Perhaps they weren't. One thing the hats do is add to the visuals inside the game, which are very well drawn. Flick has a very large expressive face and animates well when hit by hazards. Likewise, the music has a real neat offbeat vibe to it that's unique to each world. Sadly though, the roughly 5 minutes of total music is likely to repeat far too often for most to bear. It'll take roughly an hour to complete all the tasks in Flickitty, and much longer if you plan to perfectly complete each one by not falling prey to the hazards. The gameplay doesn't hold up for very long, and it does become very frustrating on later levels, but for a single $1, Flickitty is something a little bit different with some real character, and that's not something that can be said too often.